Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching the news bulletin of 3 p.m. I'm delighted to be accompanied by my colleague Reem Temer. Hello, Reem, and this is Lamia Abdel-Sattar.
Good afternoon, Lamia. Good afternoon, dear viewers, and we start right away with the headlines. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi receives World Economic Forum CEO. Powerful Israeli airstrikes shake central Beirut, 11 dead. Gaza Civil Defense says 22 killed in Israeli strikes.
Two details. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi received on Saturday President and CEO of the World Economic Forum, Borge Brande, and his accompanying delegation in the presence of Prime Minister Dr. Mustafa Madbouli, Minister of Planning, Economic Development and International Cooperation, Rania Al-Mashat, Minister of Foreign Affairs, Badr Abdelati, and Minister of Investment and Foreign Trade, Hassan Al-Khatib. Presidential spokesperson said that during the meeting, President al-Sisi discussed the development efforts exerted by Egypt, most notably projects in infrastructure, industry and agriculture sectors, as well as the mega investment opportunities provided by these projects. The President stressed the importance of joint cooperation and encouraging the foreign private sector to hold more investment projects in Egypt in the fields of industry, sustainable energy, communications, digital transformation, artificial intelligence and transportation. In this context, the President of the World Economic Forum praised the great steps taken by Egypt in the field of economic reform and attracting investments, noting the forum's interest in highlighting the successful Egyptian experience.
President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi gave his directives to continue improving the investment climate and dealing with structural challenges affecting the Egyptian economy, particularly to reduce procedural and non-tax financial burdens. This president remarks came during a meeting with Prime Minister Dr. Mustafa Madbouli and Minister of Investment and Foreign Trade Hassan Al-Khatib. Presidential spokesman said that the meeting tackled a number of issues, topping of which is developing the foreign trade system, facilitating procedures, reducing costs and customs clearance time, in addition to supporting local industry by using trade tools and World Trade Organization standards. During the meeting, they also reviewed developing the file of non-tax financial burdens, investments of the Egyptian Sovereignty Fund, as well as efforts of the fund to attract more investments.
The Lebanese Civil Defense said a powerful airstrike killed 11 people in central Beirut on Saturday, shaking the capital as Israel pressed its offensive against the Hezbollah group. Lebanon's national news agency said the attack destroyed an 8-story building and caused a large number of fatalities and injuries. The agency said that Israel used bunker buster bombs in the strike, leaving a deep crater. Beirut smelled strongly of explosives hours after the attack. Lebanon's health ministry said that Israeli strikes killed at least 63 people and injured 111 in Lebanon, bringing the toll since October 2023 to 3,645 dead and 15,355 injured.
Lebanese official media reported an Israeli strike on Beirut's southern suburbs on Saturday morning, about an hour after Israel's military issued evacuation warnings for 2 districts of the Hezbollah bastion. The official national news agency said that the enemy carried out a violent strike on southern suburbs in the Hadath area around the Lebanese university.
Gaza's Civil Defense Agency said that 22 people, including at least 6 children, were killed by Israel.
The health ministry in Hamas-run Gaza said that hospitals have only 2 days fuel left before they must restrict services after the UN warned aid delivery to the within 48 hours due to the occupation's obstruction of fuel entry. World Health Organization chief said he was deeply concerned about the safety and well-being of 80 patients, including 8 in the intensive care unit.
Member of the Palestinian Liberation Organization, Ahmad Melgaldani, said that the United States is responsible for the continuation of Israeli genocides in Gaza Strip, West Bank and East Jerusalem. He stressed that the U.S. administration's current stance in Gaza war is not only alignment with Israel, but also a real partnership, pointing that the fourth U.S. veto against ceasefire in Gaza is a strong proof of this strong partnership and support to all what Israel commits of genocides in Gaza.
Arab League Council will hold an emergency session on Sunday at the level of permanent delegates headed by Yemen and upon the request of Iraq. The meeting is due to discuss the memorandum of the President of the UN Security Council regarding the allegations of the Israeli occupation of increasing the frequency and intensity of attacks on it through Iraqi territory since last September, which aims to drag the region into a regional war. Assistant Secretary General of the League of Arab States, Ambassador Hussam Zaki, said that the request submitted through the Iraqi permanent mission highlighted Israel's threats in its message to the UN Security Council, where it seeks to expand its aggressive practices in the region, including Iraq. Zaki also said that the request sent to the Arab member states to set a date, adding that several countries supported the request.
Russia's defense ministry said that its forces had captured the settlement in eastern Ukraine's Donetsk region, their latest gain in what Defense Minister Andrei Belosov described as an accelerated advance. Ukraine's general staff noted it was among 8 villages where Russian forces were engaged in fighting and trying to advance. Russian forces hold a little less than 20% of Ukraine's territory and have advanced through Donetsk region over the past 2 months at their fastest rate since March 2022. Russian forces have made gains still further north in Kharkiv region.
Russian President Vladimir Putin said that Russia would keep testing its new Oreshnik hypersonic missile in combat and had a stock ready for use, while Ukraine said it was already at work to develop air systems to counter the weapon. Putin was speaking a day after Russia fired the new intermediate-range weapon into Ukraine for the first time, a step, he said, was prompted by Ukraine's use of U.S. ballistic missiles and British cruise missiles to hit Russia. For his part, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said Kiev was working with its Western partners to work out systems to counter new risks. Putin described the first use of Oreshnik as a successful test and said more would follow.
North Korea condemned on Saturday recent joint military drills by the United States, South Korea and Japan, warning that it would take immediate actions if needed to defend the state. Last week, the 3 countries held a 3-day joint exercise dubbed Freedom Edge, featuring fighter jets and marine patrol aircraft, as well as a U.S. nuclear-powered aircraft carrier, USS George Washington. It said in a statement that the military would keep all options available and take immediate actions if needed to preemptively control risk while closely watching military activity by the U.S. and its allies. The European Union, United States and other wealthy countries at the COP29 climate summit have agreed to raise their offer of a global finance target to $300 billion per year by 2035.
And negotiators from nearly 200 countries who must adopt the deal by consensus try to reach agreement on the world's climate funding plan for the next decade. More details in the following report.
The United Nations annual climate talks pushed into overtime Saturday as negotiators pressed on to get a deal on money for developing nations to curb and adapt to climate change. Several countries were left angry and disappointed at the latest proposed deal from the talks overnight. That draft pledged $250 billion annually by 2035, more than double the previous goal of $100 billion set 15 years ago, but far short of the annual $1 trillion that experts say is needed. Top leaders and negotiators huddled in offices much of Saturday as they hashed out a new deal that both rich and developing nations could agree on. Sources within the negotiations said that the next version of the deal could see a new, higher figure of $300 billion under the right conditions. Wealthy nations are obliged to help vulnerable countries under an agreement reached at these talks in Paris in 2015. Developing nations are seeking $1.3 trillion to help adapt to droughts, floods, rising seas, and extreme heat, pay for losses and damages caused by extreme weather, and transition their energy systems away from the planet-warming fossil fuels and toward clean energy. EU Climate Commissioner said that they are doing everything they can on each of the axes to build bridges and to make this into a success. Irish Environment Minister said that he felt there will be a new number in the next draft. The General Authority of the Suez Canal Economic Zone participate in the third edition of the annual International Industry Forum and Exhibition organized by the Federation of the Egyptian Industries from November 25th until 27th. The Suez Authority participation comes as part of the authority's keenness to be present in various local and international forums to promote investment opportunities available in the targeted services and industrial sector. The Suez Canal Economic Zone's participation comes as one of the most important basis of the Egyptian economic development, as it represents capabilities that reflect ambitious plans to maximize the benefit from available sources.
Germany's economy grew less than previously estimated in the third quarter, in further bad news for a country said to be the worst performer among the group of 7 rich democracies this year. The Statistics Office reported on Friday that the gross domestic product grew by 0.1% in the third quarter of 2024 compared with the previous quarter, down from a preliminary reading of 0.2% growth. Germany has lagged the European Union average since 2021 and is expected to shrink for the second year running in 2024.
Egyptian Premier League third round matches resumes in Saturday with a match between Zamalek and المصرية البورسعيدي at 8 p.m. Cairo local time. The Whites collected 6 points from the first 2 rounds, while المصري have 4 points in the 4th place. Mohamed Shahata will not play with the Whites today due to his injury while playing an international game.
Tottenham Hotspur manager said that Pep Guardiola has set the standard for rival Premier League coaches to reach, and the fact he will remain a thorn in their side for another 2 years should be welcomed. Tottenham visit champions Manchester City on Saturday, with Guardiola experiencing his worst run since arriving in 2016 and turning the club into the dominant force in English soccer. City, who have won 18 trophies under the Spaniard, including 6 of the last 7 Premier League titles, have suffered 4 consecutive defeats in all competitions and have slipped 5 points behind leaders Liverpool.
By this, dear viewers, we come to the end of our news bulletin. I'm delighted to be with you. My name is Lamia Absatar, and I was more delighted to be in the company of my dear colleague, Reem Tamer. Thank you, Reem.
Thank you so much, Lamia. Thank you, dear viewers. Stay tuned for more updates on the top of the hour. Thank you for watching.